takes d5, it's it's playable from White's perspective, but
Black is okay, yeah?
Black should be okay, I would guess.
All right.
This, I was going to say fianchettoed bishop.
Yeah, I was wondering if Black could play d5 himself, like in his position, if d5 was played and then with the idea of knight e4, maybe not so sound, but this is possible too.
But I think, and the thing that I would be worried about is that there are ways to kind of up the tension with, I don't know whether it works, but queen b3.
Queen b3.
Yeah, because you're not afraid of pawn takes pawn. There's this pressure that's there on f7.
Yeah, this knight is kind of, well, I think it's a good knight. It's preventing e5, but it's also a bad knight because this is the only purpose of the knight being on d7. Other than that, it doesn't have any other thing. But yeah, I like it. I like queen b3. Yeah.
So after h3, b6, yeah, so he decided to go b6 and develop the bishop on b7, so that's fine. Bishop b7,
Yep.
knight to c3.
But it
Was
looks,
rook e8 forced, though?
no, rook,
I mean,
rook
you could
e8's not-
try...
But this is all awkward, right?
Right, you could try d5 immediately, or go knight d7, go d5, but for now, keep the rook on f8, because then in our line with the queen on b3, you could have captured on c4, bishop c4, and at least f7 is not hanging. Yeah. But this is, once again, like the type of position where kind of stronger player, more experienced player has the bigger advantage compared to some positions where you kind of can calculate it out,
Yeah.
right? So here it's too many variables. I want to put this one here, this goes here, and so on and so on. So it's more experience. It's kind of helpful compared to, yeah.
I wanted to ask now about this position. Do you both feel that now is the time for Black to break out with moves like c6? Or are we still in maneuvering territory? Because I feel Magnus is close to playing knight to d4 and getting a big grip on the center.
Right. So I'd say there are like kind of two possible ways, and I suspect one of them is like really bad, but if you are sort of a King's Indian type of player, you can consider going knight c5, a5, and saying, okay, you'll get to d4, and somehow I'm gonna live with it, right? But if this one is not to your liking, then you absolutely have to play c6, right?
Yeah.
Because after knight d4, you won't be able to.
And after knight e5, let's say now the move is knight e5, you can just play with bishop f1, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, knight e5. Yeah, knight e5 is clever, though. You'd like to exchange something, I just realized. Yeah, perhaps knight e5 is kind of, you have to consider at the very least, right?
Yeah, no, it's a good option, right? Because the more trades you make, the more comfortable Black's position will be. But the question is, do you go bishop f1?
Go bishop
Or do you
f1.
go knight to d4?
take?
Or do you take on e5?
You just take, because I don't think
Okay, yeah.
Black is... oh, well, maybe he is. I was thinking, like, taking with the rook doesn't change much. Yeah,
Okay.
we swapped...
But take with the pawn.
yeah, but takes with the pawn. How kind of good is it?
And if I step the queen forward to d2?
Okay,
Queen
h7.
d2, king h7, and... yeah.
Centralize my other rook. Unless I want to...
I feel like, yeah, like Black's play is not obvious, like how he's going to organize f7, f5, which is, of course, a desirable development, but same goes for White, right? c5 is not very easy to achieve.
What about f4? But first we prepare with rook f1. It looks a bit... Yeah, the rook is already on
looks a
e1.
bit, yeah. No, if f4, I'd like to play it immediately, to be honest. Like
Okay, let us play it immediately.
Yeah, like a
So e4 doesn't look really good for Black, yeah, because this pawn might be... Like, after e4, I can just play bishop c2, and then...
And you will.
And you will win the
Bishop
pawn.
d4, and probably you
Yep.
win the pawn.
So after f4, your take on f4, bishop takes f4.
Takes on f4, and... I don't know. I like it for white.
Yeah. Yeah, white has the space advantage, especially in the center.
The bishop is terrible. The
Yeah.
the B7
B7 bishop, yeah.
Like if bishop is
And-
elsewhere, then you can
and
play it.
I do have some bad news. Knight to b5 is being threatened, so I feel black has to go a bit Benoni-like and go knight h5.
But I can take on e8 and c7 is hanging.
Yeah, that's true.
That's already
Yeah.
already
I
something.
was hoping that there would be some checks to compensate.
Checks here, I can king h2.
Yeah, you
yeah?
go king.
King h2, and
One
then there was
Oh, king h1 is
King
even,
H1.
yeah, and then the bishop will just be on h2 later if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
attack it.
So you go king h1.
and of course you can't go bishop e5 because of rook to e1. Pinning.
Confusing, yeah?
Yep. Okay, so this is still the current position. Black is still thinking after this move d5, and black has a lot of homework. What? Oh, bishop c6.
Played bishop c6.
Just
and
like what
then
we discussed. Yeah.
He's getting checkmate.
He's getting checkmated. Yeah.
He's getting
So knight f6 is on the board, and king g7. Okay.
And we said
Knight h5.
h5 double check.
Yeah.
Well, technically he can go to e8, give a bishop with a
But-
check and continue, but it doesn't make sense, yeah. Knight h5. King f8 is strictly only move, not to be checkmated in one. Yes, and then
Yes.
queen d6 is the key.
Yeah, I think the king has to go now to f8, yes. And now queen d6.
So be it.
And that will seal the deal.
Yeah, well, with Chovis queen d1, the game could actually go on. Right. I wouldn't be surprised if white's still winning by, say, moving the queen somewhere. But
Yet
it was
there-
worth a try, yeah?
I'm just looking at that right now, and the queen can go to e5. Once a check has been given on f6. So, and the players,
And he might resign now or allowing the checkmate, do you think?
he's going
He
to resign
resigns.
now, and Magnus Carlsen takes the point, and he is now on 2 points out of 3. But it was a really instructive game there
was,
from
yeah.
Magnus Carlsen. The way that he just nurtured that small advantage and just kept on maximizing his chances and also posing problems to his opponent. But what an opportunity, what experience it is to play the former 5-time world champion.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there was a moment with Bishop c6, you know, when Black was trying to bluff White, but instead he got bluffed himself.